This is Max and Mia podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Max and Mia podcast. I'm Max.
And I'm Mia. Thanks for tuning in today. We are so excited about this episode because we're about to share something that could completely change how you communicate in English.
Absolutely, Mia. You know, we get a lot of messages from our listeners saying things like, I understand English well, I can have conversations, but I still feel like something's missing. I don't sound like a native speaker.
Oh, we hear that all the time. And here's the thing. If you've been learning English through traditional methods, textbooks, or even most apps, you're probably missing a huge piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. Most English courses teach you grammar, vocabulary, maybe some basic conversational phrases, but they don't teach you how native speakers actually talk in real life. The expressions we use every single day that make our speech flow naturally.
Think about it this way. Imagine you're learning Spanish and you only know formal textbook Spanish. You'd sound correct, but you wouldn't sound natural. The same thing happens with English learners.
That's such a good point. Native speakers don't just use individual words. We use chunks of language, expressions, idioms, and phrases that give our speech rhythm and personality. These phrases are like the secret sauce of natural English.
And that's why today's episode is so important. We've carefully selected 50 advanced phrases that native speakers use constantly in everyday situations. These aren't fancy academic expressions that you'll never use.
These are the phrases you'll hear in coffee shops, in office meetings, when making plans with friends, when expressing opinions, when something surprises you. This is real, living English.
The beautiful thing about mastering these phrases is that they don't just make you sound more fluent. They actually make speaking easier. Instead of constructing every sentence from scratch, you have these ready-made expressions that native speakers recognize instantly.
It's like having a toolkit. When you know these phrases, you can express complex ideas more smoothly. You can be more persuasive, more personable, and honestly, more confident in your English.
And confidence is everything, right? When you sound natural, you feel natural. When you feel natural, you can focus on what you're actually saying, instead of worrying about how you're saying it.
Plus, native speakers will respond to you differently. They'll see you as someone who really gets English, not just someone who learned it from a book. That opens doors, professionally, socially, in every area of your life.
We've organized these phrases by different situations and contexts, so you'll have natural expressions for work, for social situations, for giving opinions, for making plans. Basically, for every part of your daily life.
So whether you're intermediate, advanced, or even if you consider yourself fluent, we guarantee you'll learn something new today. These are the phrases that will take your English from good to genuinely impressive.
Are you ready to sound like the native speaker you've always wanted to be? Let's dive in.
All right, everyone, let's start with our first category, expressing opinions and thoughts. Mia, I think this is probably the most important category because we share our opinions every single day, right?
Absolutely, Max. And here's the thing. Most English learners know how to say, I think, or in my opinion, but these sound very basic. Today we're going to give you 5 phrases that will make you sound much more sophisticated and natural.
Perfect. So, let's jump into our first phrase. I'm inclined to think that. Mia, can you break this down for us?
Sure. So, inclined means you're leaning towards something, like your mind is moving in that direction. When you say, I'm inclined to think that, you're sharing your opinion, but in a more thoughtful way. It shows you've considered different possibilities.
Great explanation. So instead of saying, I think the meeting will be canceled, you could say, I'm inclined to think that the meeting will be canceled. It sounds more professional, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's perfect for work situations or when you want to sound more educated. Now, our second phrase is, it strikes me as. This is interesting because strike here doesn't mean to hit something.
Right. When something strikes you, it means it gives you a certain impression or feeling immediately. So, it strikes me as strange means it seems strange to me, or my first impression is that it's strange.
Perfect example. You could say, it strikes me as unfair instead of just, it's unfair. Or, it strikes me as a good idea instead of, I think it's a good idea. Much more natural.
Love it. Now, number 3, I'm leaning towards. This one is super common in everyday conversation.
Yes. Think about it literally first. When you lean, you move your body in one direction. So, I'm leaning towards means you prefer one option over others, but you haven't made a final decision yet.
Exactly. So, if someone asks, do you want pizza or Chinese food? You could say, I'm leaning towards pizza, but I'm open to Chinese too. It's less direct than, I want pizza.
That's such a natural way to express a preference. Now, our fourth phrase is really cool. That's food for thought. This is a beautiful expression that native speakers use all the time.
I love this one. Food for thought means something that makes you think deeply, something worth considering carefully. Just like food nourishes your body, this idea nourishes your mind.
What a great way to explain it. So if someone gives you interesting advice, instead of just saying, that's interesting, you can say that's food for thought. It shows you're really going to think about what they said.
Perfect. And our last phrase in this category is, I beg to differ. This is such an elegant way to disagree with someone politely.
Yes. Beg here is very formal and polite, like, I ask permission. So, I beg to differ means I politely disagree, or I respectfully have a different opinion. It's much more sophisticated than just saying, I disagree.
Exactly. You could say, I beg to differ, but I think the project will take longer than expected. It's firm but respectful. Great for professional settings or when you want to sound diplomatic.
So there you have it, everyone. 5 ways to express your opinions that will make you sound more like a native speaker. Remember, it's not just about what you think, but how you express what you think.
Absolutely. Practice these phrases this week and notice how differently people respond to you. Up next, we're moving to professional settings.
Now, let's move to something that's super important for your career. Professional phrases. Max, these 5 expressions will completely change how you sound in meetings and work conversations.
Absolutely, Mia. And the best part is that these phrases are used in offices all around the world. Let's start with, let's touch base later. This might sound strange if you think about it literally.
Yes, we're not actually touching a base like in baseball. Touch base means to connect with someone, to check in, or to communicate briefly about something. It's like having a quick conversation to update each other.
Exactly. So instead of saying, let's talk later or let's meet later, you can say, let's touch base later about the project. It sounds much more professional and natural in a work environment.
Perfect. And you can use it in emails too. I'll touch base with you next week. Super common. Now, our next phrase is I'll circle back on this. Max, this one is everywhere in business.
Oh, this is huge. Circle back means to return to a topic or issue later. Imagine you're walking in a circle. You go away, but then you come back to the same place. That's exactly what this phrase means.
Great visual. So if someone asks you a question in a meeting, but you don't have the answer right now, instead of saying, I don't know, I'll tell you later, you can say, I'll circle back on this after I check the numbers. Much more professional.
Love it. Now, number 3, can we table this for now? This is interesting because table here doesn't mean the furniture in your dining room.
Right. In business, to table something means to postpone it, to set it aside for later discussion. It's like putting something on a table where you can see it, but you're not dealing with it right now.
Exactly. So, if a meeting is running long and someone brings up a new topic, you might say, "Can we table this for now and focus on the main agenda?" It's a polite way to stay focused.
Perfect. Now, here's a fun one. Let's run this up the flagpole. This sounds very American, doesn't it, Max?
It does. This phrase comes from the military, where they raise flags up a pole. In business, it means to test an idea with other people, especially people in higher positions, to see their reaction.
So, instead of saying, "Let's ask the boss what she thinks," you could say, "Let's run this idea up the flagpole and see how management responds." It shows you want to get feedback before moving forward.
Exactly. And our last phrase in this category is one everyone can relate to. I'm swamped right now. Mia, what does this mean?
Well, think about a swamp. It's full of water, muddy, difficult to move through. When you're swamped with work, you're overwhelmed, you have too much to do, and it's hard to manage everything.
Perfect explanation. So instead of just saying, "I'm busy," which sounds very basic, you can say, "I'm swamped right now, but I can help you tomorrow." It gives a better picture of how busy you really are.
And it's more sympathetic, too. People understand that being swamped means you're not just a little busy. You're really overwhelmed. These 5 phrases will make you sound like you belong in any professional environment.
Absolutely. Practice using these in your work emails and meetings this week. You'll be amazed at how much more professional you sound. Next up, we're talking about social situations. All right, now we're getting into the fun stuff. Social situations. These are the phrases that will make you sound natural when you're hanging out with friends, at parties, or just in casual conversations.
Yes. And these are so important because this is where you really connect with people on a personal level. Let's start with, "I'm all ears." Max, this is such a sweet expression.
It really is. When you say, "I'm all ears," you're telling someone that you're ready to listen completely. You're giving them your full attention. Think about it. If you're all ears, that means you're nothing but ears, ready to hear everything.
What a beautiful way to put it. So instead of just saying, "Tell me," or "I'm listening," you can say, "I'm all ears." It shows you're really interested and ready to focus on what they're saying.
Exactly. If your friend says, "I have some news," you can respond with, "Oh, I'm all ears." It's warm and shows you care. Now, our next phrase is very modern. Spill the tea.
Oh, this one is so popular right now. Spill the tea means to share gossip, news, or interesting information. It's like when you accidentally spill tea and it goes everywhere. You're sharing information that spreads around.
Great explanation. So if you want to know what happened at the office party you missed, you might say to your friend, "Come on, spill the tea. What happened?" It's casual and fun.
Perfect. But remember, this is very informal. Don't use it in professional settings. Now, here's a phrase I love. That's right up my alley.
This one is so useful. An alley is a narrow street, and if something is right up your alley, it means it's perfect for your interests, skills, or personality. It's exactly what you like or what you're good at.
So if someone invites you to a cooking class and you love cooking, instead of saying, "I like cooking," you can say, "Oh, that's right up my alley." It shows enthusiasm and that it matches your interests perfectly.
Love it. Now, I'm game for anything. This is perfect for showing you're adventurous and open to new experiences.
Yes. Game here means willing or ready to participate. It comes from being ready to play a game. So, I'm game for anything means you're open to any suggestion. You're flexible and willing to try new things.
Exactly. If friends are making plans and they ask, "What do you want to do?" you can say, "I'm game for anything." It makes you sound easygoing and fun to be around.
And our last phrase in this category is super common. Let's play it by ear. This has nothing to do with actual ears, Max.
Haha, no, it doesn't. Play it by ear means to decide what to do as the situation develops, without making firm plans in advance. It comes from music. When musicians play by ear, they don't read sheet music. They just listen and respond.
Perfect analogy. So if someone asks, "What time should we meet for dinner?" and you're not sure about your schedule, you could say, "Let's play it by ear and see how the day goes." It means you'll decide based on how things work out.
Exactly. It's great for when you want to be flexible and spontaneous. These 5 phrases will make you sound so much more natural in social situations. You'll fit right in with any group of friends.
Absolutely. Practice these when you're texting friends or making weekend plans. Now let's talk about making plans, something we all do constantly. These phrases will make scheduling and organizing so much smoother and more natural.
Absolutely. And the first one is super useful. Rain check? This comes from baseball, believe it or not.
Really? Tell us about that, Max.
Well, when it rains during a baseball game, they give you a rain check, a ticket to come back another day. So now, rain check means to postpone something and do it later instead.
That's so interesting. So instead of saying, "I can't come today, maybe another time," you can simply ask rain check. It's quick, friendly, and everyone understands you want to reschedule.
Exactly. You could text your friend, "Can't make dinner tonight." Rain check, it's casual but clear. Now, the next one is, "I'm tied up this week." This is perfect for when you're busy.
Yes. When you're tied up, you're not literally tied with rope. It means you're busy. You have commitments. Your time is already occupied with other things.
So, instead of just saying, "I'm busy this week," which sounds basic, you can say, "I'm tied up this week, but I'm free next Monday." It sounds more natural and gives a better picture of your schedule.
Perfect. Now, let's pencil that in. This is such a professional way to make tentative plans.
I love this one. When you write something in pencil, you can erase it easily, right? So, pencil in means to make a plan that might change. It's not completely confirmed yet.
Exactly. So if someone suggests meeting next Friday, but you're not 100% sure, you can say, "Let me pencil that in and confirm with you tomorrow." It shows you're interested but need to check your schedule.
Great example. Now, that works for me. This is probably the most useful phrase for making plans.
Oh, absolutely. It's so simple but so natural. Instead of saying, "Yes, that's good," or "I can do that," you say, "That works for me." It sounds like native English.
So, if someone suggests meeting at 3 p.m. and you simply say, "That works for me," it's perfect for confirming plans. And our last one, "I'll keep you posted."
This means you'll update someone with new information as things develop. Posted here means informed, like posting a notice with news.
Exactly. If you're waiting to hear about something, you can say, "I'm waiting for my boss to decide, but I'll keep you posted." It means you'll share updates as you get them.
These 5 phrases will make planning so much easier and more natural.
Now we're moving to some really expressive phrases. Ways to show surprise or when you suddenly realize something.
These are so fun because they add real emotion to your English. Let's start with "it dawned on me that." This is such a beautiful expression.
It really is. Think about dawn. That's when the sun rises and everything becomes bright and clear. When something dawns on you, it means you suddenly understand or realize something clearly.
What a perfect explanation. So instead of saying, "I realize that," you can say, "It dawned on me that I forgot my keys." It's much more expressive and natural.
Exactly. Now, that caught me off guard. This comes from fighting or sports, where being on guard means being ready to defend yourself.
Right. So if something catches you off guard, it means you weren't expecting it. It surprised you because you weren't prepared for it.
Perfect. If someone gives you unexpected news, you could say, "Wow, that caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting that at all." It shows genuine surprise.
Great example. Now, who would have thought? This is such a common reaction to surprising news.
Yes, it's a rhetorical question. You're not really asking who would have thought it. You're expressing that something is so surprising that nobody could have predicted it.
Exactly. If your quiet coworker wins a karaoke contest, you might say, "Who would have thought?" She's usually so shy. It shows amazement at the unexpected.
Okay, the next one is, "Well, I'll be damned." This is a bit stronger, so be careful with the context.
Yes. This has mild profanity, so it's very informal. It expresses strong surprise or amazement. You're basically saying you're so shocked that you can't believe it.
Right. Use this only with close friends or in very casual situations, like, "Well, I'll be damned. You actually did it," when someone achieves something difficult.
And our last one, "That's a curveball." This comes from baseball again.
Exactly. A curveball is a type of pitch that's hard to hit because it changes direction unexpectedly. So when life throws you a curveball, it means something unexpected and challenging happens.
Perfect. If you get surprising news that changes your plans, you could say, "Well, that's a curveball I wasn't expecting." These phrases will make your reactions so much more colorful and natural.
All right, now we're getting into something really important, giving advice and suggestions. These phrases will help you sound wise and thoughtful when people ask for your opinion.
Yes, and the beautiful thing about these expressions is that they make your advice sound more gentle and considerate. Let's start with, "If I were in your shoes."
This is such a classic. When you say, "If I were in your shoes," you're imagining yourself in the other person's situation. Shoes represent their position, their circumstances, their life situation.
Exactly. So instead of just giving direct advice like, "You should quit your job," you can say, "If I were in your shoes, I would probably look for another job first." It sounds more thoughtful and less pushy.
Perfect example. It shows empathy. You're trying to understand their situation before giving advice. Now, the next one is so diplomatic, you might want to consider.
Yes, this is perfect when you want to suggest something without being too direct or forceful. Consider means to think about carefully and might want to makes it very gentle.
Exactly. Instead of saying, "You should talk to your boss," which sounds like a command, you can say, "You might want to consider talking to your boss about this." Much softer and more respectful.
Love it. Now here's a really interesting one. Take it with a grain of salt. This phrase has such a cool history.
Oh yes. This comes from ancient times when people believed that poison was less harmful if you took it with salt. So, take it with a grain of salt means don't believe something completely. Be a little skeptical.
What a fascinating origin. So if someone tells you gossip or unconfirmed information, you might say, Well, take it with a grain of salt, but I heard the company might be hiring. You're sharing information but warning them to be careful about believing it completely.
Exactly. It's perfect for when you're not sure if information is 100% accurate. Now let's go with sleep on it. This is such wise advice.
I love this one. It literally means to wait until the next day before making a decision. The idea is that after a good night's sleep, you'll think more clearly and make a better choice.
Right. So if someone is facing a difficult decision, instead of saying, think about it, you can say, why don't you sleep on it and let me know tomorrow? It acknowledges that some decisions need time and rest.
Perfect. And our last phrase is beautiful. Trust your gut. Your gut is your stomach area, but this isn't about digestion.
No, it's about intuition. Your gut feeling is that instinctive feeling you get about something. Not logical thinking, but that inner sense that tells you if something is right or wrong.
Exactly. So when someone is overthinking a decision, you might say, stop analyzing so much and just trust your gut. What does your instinct tell you? It's encouraging them to listen to their inner wisdom.
These 5 phrases will make you sound like a thoughtful, caring friend when people come to you for advice. They show you're considering their feelings and respecting their ability to make their own decisions. Now let's move on to another great group of phrases. Ways to describe situations in a more colorful and meaningful way.
Oh, yes. These expressions really help you express what's going on, especially when things aren't black and white. Let's start with, it's a blessing in disguise.
I love this one. It means that something seems bad at first, but later you realize it was actually a good thing.
Exactly. Like, losing that job was a blessing in disguise. I ended up finding something way better.
Right, it's like the bad thing hides a good thing underneath. You just don't see it at first.
Next up, we're in the same boat. This is all about being in the same situation as someone else, especially a difficult one.
Totally. It's great for showing empathy. For example, I can't find a job either. We're in the same boat.
Yes. It means, I understand you. I'm going through the same thing.
All right, now, that's a double-edged sword. This one sounds dangerous, and it kind of is.
It really is. A double-edged sword is something that has good and bad effects at the same time.
Like, working from home is a double-edged sword. You save time, but it's hard to focus.
Exactly. It's great and not so great at the same time. You win some, you lose some.
Now this one's fun. It's a long shot. That means something is very unlikely but still possible.
Right. If something is a long shot, you don't expect it to happen, but there's still a tiny chance.
Like, getting that scholarship is a long shot, but I'll apply anyway.
Perfect example. It shows hope, even when the odds aren't in your favor.
And finally, we're walking on thin ice. This one sounds cold and risky.
That's because it is. It means you're in a risky situation, and if you're not careful, something bad might happen.
Like, he's already angry. You're walking on thin ice if you keep pushing him.
Yes, it's like saying, be careful. One more wrong move and things could go badly.
These kinds of phrases really help you describe situations in deeper ways. They're full of meaning, and they make your English much more expressive. Now let's move into something super useful. Phrases for conversations and communication. These are the kinds of expressions that help keep things clear, honest, and direct.
Oh yes, these are the ones that make you sound confident and in control of a conversation. Let's start with, let's cut to the chase.
Such a classic. It basically means, let's skip the small talk and get to the point. It originally came from old movies, where people wanted to skip straight to the exciting chase scenes.
Right. So imagine you're in a meeting and people are just talking and talking. You could say, "All right, let's cut to the chase. What's the final decision?" It shows you're ready to focus.
I use that one all the time. Now, a similar phrase is, "Don't beat around the bush." This one is about avoiding the main topic, kind of dancing around it instead of just saying what you mean.
Exactly. It's like when someone wants to tell you something, but they keep delaying it. Like, "Okay, don't beat around the bush. Just tell me what happened." You're asking them to be direct.
It can also help when you want to be direct without sounding rude. You can say, "I don't want to beat around the bush, but I think we need to talk about this issue."
Great point. Now, here's one I really like. "That's beside the point." This one is for when someone brings up something that isn't really important to the topic.
Yes, like if you're talking about how a project is late and someone says, "But I worked really hard on it." You could say, "That's beside the point. The deadline was still missed." You're not ignoring their effort, but you're keeping the focus.
It's a polite way to say, "That's not what we're talking about right now." Super useful in debates or discussions.
Absolutely. Now here's a fun one. "You hit the nail on the head." I love this expression.
Me too. It means someone said exactly the right thing. Like, spot on. Imagine your friend says, "I think you're stressed because you've been working too much," and you feel like, yes. You could say, "Wow, you hit the nail on the head."
It's like saying, "You totally got it," or "That's exactly right." Very natural in everyday conversations.
Definitely. And the last one in this group, "Let's get on the same page." I love how visual this one is. It means, let's make sure we both understand things the same way.
Right. It's like if you and your team are working on a project, but everyone is confused, you might say, "Before we move forward, let's get on the same page." It's about having clarity.
Or even in relationships. If you and your partner have different ideas about something, you can say, "Let's talk about it and get on the same page." It's great for teamwork too.
These expressions really help when you want to communicate clearly and avoid misunderstandings. They make your English sound natural and confident.
And they help keep conversations focused and smooth, whether you're at work, with friends, or dealing with something serious.
All right, now let's shift gears and talk about expressing personal feelings and reactions. These are the kind of phrases that really show what's going on inside, your emotions, frustrations, excitement, all of it.
Yes, these expressions are super colorful and make your English feel alive. Let's start with one of my favorites. "I'm over the moon."
Such a happy phrase. It means you're extremely happy, like really happy. Imagine you just got great news, like you passed your exam or got a new job. You could say, "I'm over the moon."
Exactly. It's much more exciting than just saying, "I'm happy," like, "I'm over the moon about our vacation next month." It gives your words emotion and energy.
Totally. Now, on the other side, "That's a weight off my shoulders." This one means you feel relieved, like something stressful is finally gone.
For example, imagine you've been worried about something, like paying a bill or finishing a project, and then it's done. You can say, "Whew, that's a weight off my shoulders."
You can almost feel that one, right? Like you were carrying a big load and now it's gone.
Yes, it's great when you want to express relief in a personal way. Now, here's one I think many people can relate to. "I'm torn about this."
Oh yeah. When you say you're torn, it means you're struggling to choose between two things. You feel divided, like part of you wants one thing and the other part wants something else.
Like, "I'm torn about whether to move to a new city or stay close to my family." It shows that your emotions are pulling you in different directions.
Exactly. It's a gentle way to say, I don't know what to do, but with emotion behind it. Now, this next one is fun to say, but not fun to feel. It's driving me up the wall.
Yes, this means something is making you really annoyed or frustrated. Like, the construction noise outside is driving me up the wall. You're basically saying, this is making me crazy.
It's a strong but common way to show irritation. Not angry exactly, just super frustrated.
Totally. And finally, one of the most expressive phrases, I'm at my wit's end. This means you've tried everything, and now you just don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, it's that feeling when you're exhausted. Mentally, emotionally, you're out of ideas or patience. Like, my baby won't stop crying and I'm at my wit's end. It's powerful, right?
Super powerful. It really communicates that feeling of being completely overwhelmed. These 5 phrases are so useful for showing real emotion in a way that feels natural.
Whether you're excited, confused, relieved, or frustrated, these expressions give your English personality and depth.
And the best part, they help people understand how you really feel. Not just the words, but the emotion behind them.
All right, now let's look at some great phrases for wrapping up conversations. These are the kinds of expressions that help you end things smoothly, whether it's a meeting, a chat, or even just a text conversation.
Yes, these phrases are super natural and often used in daily English. Let's start with, let's call it a day.
A classic. It means, let's stop working or talking for now because we've done enough. Like, if you've been studying for hours, you can say, okay, let's call it a day. I'm tired.
Right. It's often used at the end of work or group tasks. We've made good progress, so let's call it a day. It's friendly and final, but not rude.
Exactly. Now, here's one I really like in professional or casual settings. I'll touch base with you soon.
Yes. This means I'll contact you again soon. Usually to check in, follow up, or continue the conversation later. It's great for business emails too.
For example, thanks for the update. I'll touch base with you next week. It sounds polite, professional, and friendly.
Totally. Now let's talk about keep me in the loop. This one is for when you want to stay informed.
Right. The loop means the circle of people who know what's going on. So if you say, keep me in the loop, you're asking someone to share updates with you.
Like, I can't join the meeting, but please keep me in the loop. Super useful for teamwork, right?
That's right. Now this next one sounds like something from a movie set. That's a wrap.
Yes, it comes from filming. When shooting is finished, they say, that's a wrap. But now it's used in everyday English to say, we're done here.
Like after a successful event or project, well, that's a wrap. Great job, everyone. It has a fun, celebratory feel.
I love it. And to close everything off, we've got until next time.
Simple and friendly. It's like saying, goodbye for now, we'll talk again later. Great for ending podcasts, calls, or even messages.
Yeah, like, that's all for today. Until next time. It sounds natural and leaves the door open for future chats.
These phrases are perfect for ending conversations in a smooth, confident way. Whether it's work, friends, or just daily life, they help you say goodbye without it feeling awkward.
Exactly. Wrapping things up well is just as important as starting strong. These expressions help you finish on a good note. And that's a wrap for today's episode. We really hope you had fun and learned something new that you can actually use in real life.
Yeah, these phrases are the kind of stuff that make your English sound real, not like a textbook. So if you enjoyed this conversation and want to keep improving your English with us, don't forget to give this video a like It really helps us out. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That way you won't miss any of our upcoming episodes.
And if there's a topic or expression you want us to cover in a future episode, let us know in the comments. We love hearing from you.
Seriously, we read your comments and it means a lot to know this helps you. So, thanks again for spending time with us.
Keep practicing, keep smiling, and most importantly, keep having fun with English.
All right, that's it for now. Take care and see you next time.
See you next time.